Charlotte Leslie.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker, and thank you for allowing me to make my maiden speech. I'll keep it short since there's so many maidens in waiting, but I can't let the opportunity pass without congratulating all new members here, including my new honourable friend who's just leaving, I think, the member for Chippenham, and also my honourable friend, member for Totnes. As someone with a father who works in the NHS, I'm absolutely delighted that we have your kind of expertise on the benches here. It's a great benefit to the whole House. But standing here as a newcomer to the House, slightly intimidated by the formalities, and I beg your indulgence if I mess up any of these formalities in this speech, sometimes a chamber can seem a very, very long way away from the streets of Bristol North West, which is my constituency, and which is where I've spent the last 3 years campaigning. But members on these benches and my predecessors in Bristol North West have been campaigning to ensure that this place isn't a distant chamber removed from places like the streets of Bristol North West, but it's a chamber that's there to serve the people of Bristol North West and indeed the entire country. And on that note, I'd like to pay tribute to my direct predecessor, Dr. Doug Naismith. He'll be known to many of you, and he brought a tremendous amount of expertise and wisdom and integrity to the House, and it is not a formality when I say he will be a very hard act to follow. But I'd like to base most of my speech on the topic of the discussion today, which is education. Bristol North West is a fantastic constituency. It's incredibly diverse, from the fantastically successful Bristol Port, which is undergoing expansion, to the rolling downs in Stoke Bishop. But that diversity also means that this Bristol North West is a tale of two cities. There exists extreme poverty and deprivation, side by side, with some of the richest wards in the country. And I believe nowhere is this inequality seen more starkly than in education. We have some of the best performing schools in the country, just metres away, hundreds of metres away, from some of the most challenged schools in the country. And I'm privileged to be able to address the Chamber today on education and discuss some of the measures in the gracious speech. Breaking down the terrible invisible barriers that divide the haves from the have-nots is not going to be easy. But I'm delighted that one thing the Coalition rests on is the pupil premium. Now, quite a long time ago, back in 2005, I was lucky enough to work with my honourable friend from Gratham and Stamford and James O'Shaughnessy on the pupil premium, and little did we know then that it would be a raft for such a friendly and successful coalition. But that is just the beginning. The financial incentive directed to those most in need is just the beginning of beginning to equalise the educational inequality that exists in my community, and will so help schools like Hembury, Orchard and Brightstow Academy. But we all know that it's not only money, not only direct investment that can really make a difference to tackling inequality, and thank goodness for that, because there's not a lot of it around. Also, human resources are massively important, so I'm incredibly excited and really welcome the measures in the gracious speech to expand organisations like Teach First. Now, I actually tugged the elbow of Teach First a couple of years ago and begged them to come to Bristol. They didn't say no, but they didn't say yes. But I'm hoping that with the legislation that we're going to be looking at, Teach First will be able to come to Bristol North West, and there'll be tangible differences it will make to the lives of the children there. And measures like this, that often start out as just an idea in a report, taken here to the House, can sometimes seem very dislocated from those they are supposed to serve. The world outside this chamber, which can seem very distant indeed when you've been sitting down for 5 hours inside it. But there is a world outside this chamber. And I very much look forward to seeing these ideas make a tangible difference. Just one example is St Ursula's School in my constituency. It's a school that is a private school, but it wants to open its doors to take state pupils. It exists in an area of burning parental need and desire for a new school. Parents have asked for this new school, but all the way along the line, authority has said no, computer says no. I'm going to be delighted if, with the legislation set out in the gracious speech, finally, for parents who want a new school, computer can say yes, and authority can help parents realise their ambitions for their children and give children from all backgrounds access to new good schools that only the well-off at the moment can afford. To wrap up, Mr Deputy Speaker, thank you for indulging me. It's been an honour to address this debate on what I think is the single most effective way to close that gap between the haves and the have-nots that is still so stark in my constituency of Bristol North West, and that is education. And I look forward to working within this chamber with my honourable colleagues and friends to ensure that Bristol North West is not a tale of two cities, it's a tale of one city, and it's a city of opportunity for all, which is what I would like this country to become. Thank you very much. Yeah.